Thank you. First of all, I am a professor at University Polytechnic of Bucharest.
Apologies.
So I'm in fact doing research for the last 40 years in artificial intelligence and also teaching artificial intelligence in the computer science department in Polytechnic University of Bucharest. I'm an engineer, but for all these 40 years, I permanently ask myself which is a difference between artificial intelligence and what is religion saying, especially Christian orthodoxy. In fact, I was raised in the spirit of Christian orthodoxy. So I will refer, as the title says, about the difference between what everybody knows now, ChatGPT and all these achievements, and wisdom. Okay, so in the Old Testament, wisdom is regarded as a major aim that humans should achieve. In Proverbs 3:13, it says, "Blessed are those who find wisdom, those who gain understanding." However, in psychology, wisdom began to be a research interest only about 50 years ago. Recently being identified 29 definitions and components of wisdom in literature, in scientific literature, as Zhang mentioned in a paper. By contrast, wisdom was not a discussed topic in artificial intelligence, domain which it was discussed a lot here. It was born 70 years ago, but only recently some proposals discussed about artificial wisdom, which they say it's beyond artificial intelligence, as Just and All says in 2020. This attempt, in fact, recognizes that there is a difference between wisdom and what artificial intelligence can achieve. In the Holy Scripture, wisdom is considered in direct relation to life, soul, and love. And I quote, "The one who gets wisdom loves life." Or in another translation of the same phrase, "He who gets wisdom loves his own soul," from Proverbs 19:8. Moreover, God is a source of wisdom. The Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth comes knowledge and understanding, in Proverbs 2:6. Therefore, the disinterest of artificial intelligence and wisdom is not surprising. There is a major difference between intelligence and wisdom, as it will be also discussed in detail below. Moreover, artificial intelligence is based on the implicit postulate that human soul does not exist, that life can be explained without God, ideas that are also the foundations of posthumanism. For the sake of explaining the fundamental contrast between wisdom and artificial intelligence, I will analyze in detail some essential facts about the later, that means artificial intelligence, and the state of the art in text generation technology. The name artificial intelligence was adopted in 1956 for the research directed towards developing computer-based systems that imitate and surpass human intelligence in connection with the newly founded knowledge science and the progresses in digital computers. However, artificial intelligence has roots in hundreds of years in the attempts to develop ways of getting all the existing truth. For example, Ramon Lull, or Raimundus Lullus in a Latin version, a work called Ars Combinatoria, Leibniz, Characteristica Universalis, and others are trying, in addition to, for example, the attempts to create a homolunculus or a golem, which also was many hundreds of years ago, are in this direction. One main area of artificial intelligence is to process human or natural language. That means to be able to answer questions, to translate from one language to another, to generate texts. By the way, language is the fact that distinguishes clearly humans from other beings. It is a comment which is not in the text, but I wanted to emphasize. Other main areas of artificial intelligence are problem solving, scene recognition, robotics. There are two artificial intelligence paradigms: symbolic, based on making inferences on explicitly representing knowledge, and connection is based on huge artificial intelligence neural networks, which is a subdomain of machine learning approaches which are using, in fact, statistics, statistical processes. It is now a reality that computer-based artificial intelligence applications, for example, ChatGPT, can generate text and speech in a similar way to a human. Such applications belong to the domain of the so-called generative AI, GAI, which includes, in addition to text, also the generation of images, music, audio, and video. However, in this study, I'm referring only to text GAI, which experienced an amazing development with major implications in everybody's life in recent years, in fact, 2 years. Systems as ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, Anthropic Claude, Inflection Spy, and so on, are used in many tasks and give the impression that they can answer almost any question and generate any kind of text we ask, some performing sentiment identification and simulating even empathy. Moreover, they can assist humans in various tasks, being a kind of co-pilots, for example, Microsoft Copilot. Therefore, justified also by the recent domains where GAI applications took place of human jobs, probably many people, if not the majority, may believe that GAI can cope with requests for any purpose or in any domain. Consequently, a question arises, if this opinion is true, whether such AI application can totally replace a human that has wisdom, empathy, creativity, that can write poetry and novels, that can show love in the created texts or utterances, that can enter in polyphonic interanimation in the sense of Mikhail Bakhtin and my work in the artificial intelligence, conversations occurring in communion in the Christian sense of togetherness life. Some say that the answer is positive, probably ignoring the last feature, which communion, which probably they will not recognize as existing. That the so-called artificial general intelligence, AGI, will include, and I quote, AI systems that are generally smarter than humans, including all the above mentioned human features. While GAI, generative artificial intelligence, may be seen as providing very useful tools for helping people, it should be emphasized that the idea of artificial intelligence, and especially artificial general intelligence, is a pinnacle of very old aims and other practices to create artificial man, as I said before, and to have easy access to all the knowledge about everything. These aims are implicitly subsumed to those of imitating and even to be like God. Of course, these aims are for Christians illusionary and a fundamental sin. They are also the result of the pride that we can be like God, attitude that is incompatible with wisdom. And I quote, when pride comes, then comes disgrace, but with humility comes wisdom, from Proverbs 11:2. Another perspective on artificial general intelligence, which excludes God, is extending the evolution towards extending the evolution theory towards posthumanism, considering artificial intelligence as a next stage in the biological evolution, passing in a new era where robots will surpass, replace, and maybe even totally eliminate humans. And I quote from Ketush, 2024, the realization of AGI would mark a pivotal moment in human history, ushering in a new era of posthumanism, a paradigm shift in our understanding of intelligence, consciousness, and the human condition. And I close the quote. Many human capacities are related to language. For example, communication, reasoning, creativity, and consciousness. For all of them, attempts to artificialization may be noticed even from the first years of artificial intelligence, natural language processing, inference engines, artificial creativity. By the way, I make here a parenthesis. It was in the section before a discussion about creativity. It is a very debated subject if artificial intelligence really has creativity. Even yesterday in one of my lectures with my students, I discussed about this aspect. So artificial creativity, which is, I do not agree that artificial intelligence has creativity exactly like humans. They have some kind of creativity, but not. And simulating consciousness or even discussing about whether robots and GI have conscience. Conscience is also, I also make a comment, another very hot point where people saying, okay, artificial intelligence already has conscience. I do not agree, and it is another subject I will not insist here. In fact, what is characteristic to wisdom that AI cannot yet or even ever achieve? Some starting points in this discussion can be three major problems of artificial intelligence nowadays, which is not clear if they will ever be solved. Unethical decisions that are sometimes provided by artificial intelligence, for example, ChatGPT and other machine learning algorithms, the lack of explainability capacities. This is a major problem of today artificial intelligence, the capacity of providing explanations. It's a so-called domain of explainable AI. Because neural networks, artificial neural networks, and some machine algorithms, machine learning algorithms are like black boxes. They cannot explain. They provide results, but they cannot explain why they provided those results. And the third, which is also extremely important, hallucinations. By contrast, a wise man is characterized by ethics, and I quote, supporting others and contributing to a larger common good, and knowing and doing what is right. A wise man is capable of providing explanations of his decisions, and of course, he does not hallucinate. The difference between intelligence and wisdom results also if we investigate the above 29, which I mentioned in the beginning of my talk, definitions of wisdom in recent psychology research. We can find very only few mentions.
Professor Matu, you have 2 minutes.
Yes, I will finish before 2 minutes. Thank you. We can find very in those 29 definitions, I analyzed in detail those definitions, only few mentions of intelligence features, for example, cognition, expert knowledge, and decision making. However, there are many other features characterizing wisdom, such as moral reasoning, virtue, deeper understanding of life, intellectual humility, patience, insightful knowledge, reflection, compassion, openness, empathy, compassion, altruism, pro-social attitudes and behaviors, dealing with uncertainty, human nature, self-transcendence, and religion. And I mentioned also Zhang et al. In 2022, which also have a paper in this direction. Probably one of the most relevant of the above features for our study is self-transcendence, which Frankl, which is maybe you know a psychoanalyst in the tradition of Freud, Jung, but with a totally different idea about human psychic. So Frankl considered as a fundamental human desire to discover life meaning, which is, and I quote, equivalent to wisdom and implies the dissolution of self based obstacles to empathy, understanding, and integrity. It should be mentioned that Frankl's phenomenology has been found as related to Christian orthodoxy. So, if we conclude in terms of psychology, intelligence may be necessary, but is not sufficient for wisdom, which needs, on the other hand, an ability to see, and I quote, to see the big picture, a sense of proportion, intelligence, humility, and considerable introspection. There are many opinions that artificial intelligence achieved and exceeded human capabilities. With fact, it's obvious for some capacities, such as calculation, data, image processing, and so on. But these performances are built, and I will very briefly say, they are built around the so-called large language model, which in fact is obtained by training artificial neural networks on all the texts which were achieved, capable to be processed in a digital form. These systems are also in a very influential paper, scientific paper, as a stochastic parrot. So it's based on statistics, and this text generated by artificial intelligence may deliver information taken from all these learned texts, but there is a statistical synthesis of the text used to training these large language models, but the results
Professor
are similar to what a parrot
Professor Matu,
yes, I finished.
Your time is
in
up.
A sentence, thank you. They do not give us words of wisdom. As I saw, I must not be passing 15 or 20 minutes, sorry. Between the words of wisdom that the Holy Spirit gives and the words generated by ChatGPT, for example, lead us away from a spiritual life. Forgetting wisdom, as the Apostle Paul said, we should be servants not of the letter, but of the Spirit, 2 Corinthians 3:6. Moreover, the AI-generated texts sometimes have serious ethical problems and sometimes hallucinate. We should be aware about words generated by AI. ChatGPT is very useful, but it is not a wise person and is providing a synthesis of what was previously written but not written. Thank you. Sorry, as I saw, I tried and I not passed. So, as a specialist in artificial intelligence, I have very many.
Thank you, Professor Matu. Thank you.